Hey everyone, I'm Uncle Bill.
And I'm Jenny.
Welcome to the Fear Review.
So today we're talking about Leprechaun 3.
Leprechaun 3.
Which is fun. We get to see Warwick Davis, Leprechaun garb, in Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas! And this one opens, we've got a completely different introduction to this leprechaun. I know we talked about it in the last episode. Obviously, we're dealing with different leprechauns here. And we start this movie with this poor man who has gone through it. He's got an eye patch, I believe. He's an amputee. He's kind of walking with a limp, like he's struggling. And he comes in with this leprechaun statue with this massive medallion on top of it. He's like desperate to get rid of it, tells the pawn guy, just please don't touch the medallion. Yeah, I don't know that he's that calm when he says it. But here you go, just don't touch it. Guy leaves, and immediately the pawn guy takes the medallion off. Then this statue turns into the living, breathing leprechaun. His gold pops out, and suddenly we have the Lep live and killing it.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Which we didn't actually. I just thought about this because the guy has an eye patch. He loves poking out eyes.
He does.
So of course he's going to have an eye patch.
Because if he's been struggling against the leprechaun, you will lose an eye.
You are going. Someone in your inner circle is going to lose an eye.
Somebody, without fail, there will be an eye lost. Like
so
every time.
Every time. So he's dealing with the pawn shop owner, and I think before we really see a whole bunch go on, we meet Scott and Tammy.
Oh yeah, like immediately they have their kerfuffle in the pawn shop, and then we are introduced to Tammy, who's hitchhiking. She's got some car troubles.
Car trouble. Scott pulls over to help her. Scott is 21 apparently.
Mm-hmm. Scott is on his way to college at 48 years old.
Yes, there's no way this man is 21.
He doesn't look 48, but it's like, good God, that man has a child in college.
Yes. So they meet, go to a casino.
He's going to drive her to work.
She works for the great Fazio, and he is seduced by the lights and sounds of the casino. Mm-hmm. Busts out his $23,000 check.
From Mommy and Daddy.
From Mommy and Daddy.
To pay for school.
For boarding,
mm-hmm.
and for this, I don't know, if like semester, I think is an expensive school.
Tuition.
He's going to Harvard, apparently.
This guy's going somewhere.
If you see the guy, you know he's going places.
You can tell. I mean, he's 40. He's got experience. Tammy immediately is like, look, drop me off and get out of here. Like, you got to get to school. This is kind of shady business. You don't need to be mixed in with all this.
Don't stick around.
So, obviously, as anyone would, he, like, without any hesitation at all, starts to gamble. Walks in, takes her to Fazio, meets the gang, turns around, craps table.
Boom.
Just
right
boom,
there.
boom, boom.
Well, I think he stops at a craps table, and then he goes to roulette, which you've never been to Vegas, so you're not going to understand the games probably. But me and Amy go all the time. So.
Well, not all of us. There is experience in well traveled.
Yes.
Yeah, so he goes and he takes his check. He loses all of it so quickly, as many people in Vegas do. He loses all his money. And this woman, her name is Loretta, tells him, well, girl, don't worry about it. Go pawn your watch off. Like, there's a place. Go pawn your watch.
You're going to hit it big. You're due.
You will win, girl. Like, you just had to sell that watch. And poor little Scott goes for it. And, there's so many things around, but it's easy to find this pawn shop called The Pawn Place.
The Pawn Place. I believe he says, this must be the place. And it cuts to The Pawn Place.
You're kidding, Scott.
No.
Where he walks in, Lep has just had this fight with the pawn guy. He's not dead, but he's like knocked him out. Or has he already gone?
I think he's dead. I think we skipped forward a little bit, like following them. But yeah, I think he's dead then. Because he calls doesn't he call the police at that point?
Yeah, he does. Okay, then we have to.
We have to go back and talk about the pawn place owner.
So the pawn place owner unfortunately dies via Lep finger, which we have to talk about because it has one of my favorite little Lep lines, which is, "If you linger, I'll give you the finger."
Well, so the pawn place owner has a gun. You know, he's you know, obviously trying to save himself, but he's also trying to get the leprechaun's gold. So he's already at this point looked it up on. He has I think a CD-ROM of like leprechaun stuff. He watches on his little like ancient computer.
So old, prehistoric.
Like, seeing all of the leprechaun stuff, how it works. So now we're introduced with a new rule that it's a wish per shilling. So multiple wishes, not just 3 like the last movie. But anyway, so he has a gun that he's trying to protect himself with. And before he does that, he goes to shoot the leprechaun. And before he does, he licks the barrel of the gun.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
And then aims. And the leprechaun was like, I think, tricking him at that point. Like, he's making him see another leprechaun while he actually shoots him with it. Like, and he makes one of those kind of cherub like statue, like shoot him in the arm. But so he's then he's going to try to shoot the leprechaun again. That's when we get the "if you linger, I'll give you the finger." Sticks his finger into the end of the gun, which of course when he pulls it, blows up on it. Obviously, as it would.
To be expected when Lep puts his finger in your gun, clearly. Yep. So we get new rules in this movie. Love that.
Which the amulet, so the amulet,
when on the statue, it kept the statue from turning into the leprechaun, and then seemingly it protects you.
Yes,
if you have it.
I think in later movies we realize if you put the amulet on, it turns him into a statue.
Back into the statue.
So taking it off, he comes up, but he's also scared of it. Like I don't know if it hurts him or he just knows. Because he recoils from it. So.
Because if you get closer to him and you put it back on, he knows he's done for. So
he's stuck for a while.
Yeah. So once again, no clovers to be seen. The whole iron situation, I believe, completely goes out of the window in this movie. Any iron. But now we have a medallion to use against this leprechaun.
Medallion and a new gold rule.
This new gold rule where per shilling you get 1 wish.
Yep.
Which doesn't really matter because no one in this movie ever has more than 1 shilling.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay, sure. Yeah. Specify that.
Specify it, then we're done.
So Scott comes in and he finds this pawn guy's body on the ground. Lep sort of hides because he's not ready to get caught just yet. Comes across, like, this gold medallion. Nope, not the medallion. He comes across the coin.
The shilling.
The 1 shilling. Because originally when the Lep, popped up out of the statue, he took his gold and left, but 1 shilling had fallen out. The pawn guy had been looking at it, which is why he had returned. Killed pawn guy. So Scott grabs it and just wishes that he was back at that casino winning big.
On a winning streak. And
seals his fate immediately. The Lep goes to kill Scott and he has teleported back to that casino before he ever gets the chance.
Oh, that's right, because he's running up with, he has his cane, and I think he's going to hit him over the head with it.
He's ready to bop this fool, and he's gone. He's back to the Lucky Shamrock.
Back to the Lucky Shamrock at the roulette table with a whole stack of money.
He's won an insane amount of money because it's a rigged table, but it's no longer working.
Yeah, and so then he puts the coin on the stack of money, and when he does, it moves to the number that it's going to be. But it shows like they're trying to cheat, but even when she hits the little button and it shows like the little magnet come out from underneath, the screw comes out of the magnet and it falls, so they can't cheat.
So it won't work. Because Mitch, who is kind of, I guess, a manager here at the casino, he's kind of perving on Tammy, he's got a huge crush. We sort of see this whole big kerfuffle about, you're letting him win. You gotta get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Because Loretta tries. She just keeps trying to get him to bet more money, and he just can't stop winning.
Which we had mentioned. Loretta is Carolyn Williams. From Texas Chainsaw fame. I believe she's in 2, I think 3, 2.
She might be in 3 for a minute. I know
Yeah.
she's like the girl in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah, Stretch, I think.
Yeah, if you recognize her, that's where she's from. Because we've watched this movie, I think, 400 times, and every time I go, I think I've seen that before. You go, yes, it's Chainsaw 2. Yes, you have.
You have seen her.
We've discussed this before.
Which they make a big deal about Loretta as being very old and overweight.
Which she is not. This woman is mid-30s, thin, fabulous lady, and they, like, full on, like, beat down this woman constantly about being this, like, haggard old lady.
Like,
and they give her, like, fake boobs, and I swear to God, are down to her belly button.
Yeah, they're we called her Loretta Longboob.
Loretta Longboob, like, it's a struggle buster. And she's very jealous of Tammy, like, there's this whole kind of dynamic here. She wants to work for Fazio.
Yep.
She wants to be the magician's assistant. She loves Fazio. It's like a whole situation. There's a lot of history between this sort of casino crew.
I guess I never realized that she loved Fazio. I always thought it was just she wanted to kind of be in the limelight, I think is what it was, and like being like his assistant.
Yeah, I think she wanted Fazio to like her. I think she was kind of into him.
Yeah.
She was so jealous by everybody liking Tammy.
Yeah.
So Tammy, like, comes back, and, you know, she's done working her little magician's assistant gig, which we watched Fazio at work, and great is not the word we'd use for it.
No.
Subpar at best.
The great Suckio.
Seriously, like, he just can't. Poor guy. And Tammy rolls up, sees all this money Scott has won, and she's like, okay, seriously? Hold your horses. Go cash this in. Like, cash this in, cash this out.
Cash out.
Go cash out. Go up to the room and do not leave. Like, I will meet you there.
That was Mitch.
No, Mitch tells him, like, I'm going to give you a room.
Yeah.
And complimentary. But Tammy's like, you need to go up there and, like, get done with all of this.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. You're saying Tammy, I'm thinking Loretta.
Yeah, Tammy's like, you've got to just get out of here. Like, you've won so much. You need to go.
Yep.
And somewhere along the line, they hear about, like, I want to say it's Loretta and Fazio.
Loretta sees, I think this is what you're saying, Loretta notices that what he's doing is putting the coin, or the shilling.
The shilling.
Shilling. Did I say that right? I did.
Yeah, you said it right.
On noticing that it's magic in some way, that it's giving the right numbers. So she catches Fazio and says, hey, he's got this shilling in his room. You give me the shilling. I want that. And he's got a bunch of cash up there. You get the cash.
Yep.
So Fazio's like, heck yeah, let's do this.
They made this whole plot to steal from him.
Yep.
And the Lep, obviously, he's already sniffed this stuff out. He's already at the casino trying to figure out where Scott has gone. And he finds Fazio doing this magic trick for this kid. Do you remember?
Yes.
You know exactly what I'm saying. And Fazio's doing this, like, fake, the fake bunny in the hat trick. And he lifts up the hat, and the leprechaun made the bunny turn into leprechaun poop.
Yeah, he has a pile of green, steaming
leprechaun shit, like, in the palm of his hand. Yeah. And I love it because you have to know that feels different than a fake bunny.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that this rabbit feels like I can imagine it's, like, warm.
Yeah, it's literally steaming in his hand.
Possibly wet.
Yes.
I can think.
Moist.
Moist. And Fazio's he's none the wiser. Opens that hat, and it's just as surprised as the child is to see this massive pile of poop. It's like a huge chunk. Like, I've never seen that come out of anybody's body.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. Because I love it, because the leprechaun, from what I believe, he had no reason to do that at all. Like, Fazio had done nothing to him.
Nope. Other than
just like having fun.
Yeah, him seeing somebody else doing magic is like, you know what? I have actual magic.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is how it works.
Because we also have a where is it outside the casino when he's walking in to go look for Scott, that we have him do like this Elvis?
Yes, he meets an Elvis impersonator. And he, I think he does like the thank you very much. I think so. The leprechaun does that, yeah.
This little leprechaun impersonator, he does like the Elvis dance, like the hip thrust thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Elvis Leprechaun.
That is why I love these movies so much, because like as goofy as Freddy can be, and Jason isn't as goofy. Like he doesn't have as much personality to him.
No.
Freddy can be hilarious, but the Leprechaun is just so ridiculous. I think it's why I love these movies so much.
Yeah.
Because you never see another slasher do something like that.
No, they don't take themselves too seriously. It's like they know exactly what they're doing. It's very tongue in cheek. It's very campy. It's very
great.
Yeah, I mean he poops in a guy's hand, and then we have an Elvis.
It's great. And while he's walking through the casino, we get to see out of. I think when we said it, I called it out of drag.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Out of makeup, Warwick Davis as an extra sitting at like a slot machine.
Yeah.
Which I love because I didn't realize that the first time we watched it. I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
Out of drag.
You know, one of us, I can't remember who it was, like pausing, wait, go back. And looking, he's just like in the background, sitting in a slot machine, just hanging out.
And he's so young.
Yeah.
Like he looks so young because now like I've only seen him in like that show with Ricky Gervais and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm used to what he looks like now, and he's closer to the way he looked like. Obviously, he's older than he was in Willow, but more like just this young man.
Yeah.
Warwick. I think that's so cool. Did they throw him in there like as an extra? Like,
yeah. I thought that was cool. Yeah, he's just kind of hanging out back there.
Yeah. So Fazio goes in and he kind of takes the reins of the whole stealing thing.
Yeah, he goes up there. Scott is taking a shower, has ordered a bunch of food, and Fazio sneaks in, finds the coin, but doesn't find any money, I think is what happens. And so then Scott comes out, there's a tussle, and then Fazio throws down a huge smoke bomb of sorts, and then like disappears out the door, like runs out the door, and then in comes Mr. Leprechaun.
Yeah, he had found Scott fairly quickly, and he comes in. The shilling is gone, but he's still got a bone to pick with Scott. And they fight, because obviously Scott sees a leprechaun walk into his room. And in this fight, the leprechaun bites Scott.
And is like holding on.
Girl,
like,
he's got his arm up and Leprechaun is hanging.
Yeah.
Bites the hell. And this is the first time we see Leprechaun. We've seen him bite fingers off.
Fingers.
Bite an ear.
He bites the pawn place's ear and
toe.
Yeah, where he takes off a shoe and is like, nice shoe. Oh, here, let me get this for you. And like,
yeah, he does. Bites a toe.
A toe.
But like, this is the first time we see him like full bite and hold. Like,
yeah. And
so Scott, like, is kind of fleeing around, flings the leprechaun out the window. To which, what does he say? His out, falls on the ground.
Yeah, falls, hits the ground. I think he like gets up and he's like, next time I'll take the stairs.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Because you will not catch him slacking. Like, he's gonna land and he's gonna have a cute little one-liner moment.
And speaking of not biting, but we missed this. It was when he first starts walking around in Vegas. He's sitting on the ground. He's looking for a shilling, and he has his cane, and it's like spinning around like it's gonna kind of like find where he needs to go. And a guy walks up and is like, "Oh, hey, this is great. Here's my card. I will represent you." And the leprechaun just rips his finger off because he has like a gold ring.
Which is in part 2.
So that's in part 2.
It is. We totally forgot to talk about that in 2.
That's part 2?
Yeah. I think we should still talk about it. Because we never mentioned that in our episode for Leprechaun 2.
And I was just going for because you didn't realize finger licking good was.
I didn't. It really did take me it took us watching the movie for the 3rd time to realize that when he rips this guy's finger off and like licks the finger, takes the ring off and then goes, "I'm looking good," it's because he licked the finger. It's not.
And I was like, wait, you didn't?
He's not just like quoting KFC for fun. Which is so stupid to realize that I didn't get that.
I guess he was on the street in LA. That's what it was.
Yeah, he's walking down the street. I also thought it was 3. So I was gagged when we saw it yesterday in 2.
That feels like it should be like in Vegas.
It should be in Vegas.
Weird.
But I get 2 and 3 mixed up all the time.
Yeah. There's some I think like the similarity with like the wishes and the gold. They never talk about gold in any of the other ones except for 2 and 3. Yeah, there's just something. I guess because it's like Vegas and LA. Maybe they kind of like.
There's a similar vibe, I think.
Yeah.
Because space is so different, obviously, for many reasons. Lep in the Hood 1 and 2 are very different, and 2 and 3 are both not as good as 1, but have the same campy.
The vibe is very
goofy. Cool. So I mistake them all the time. And it's 2 blonde leads that I get confused until rewatching them and realizing that, sorry Siobhan, but Tammy is a much better actress in this movie.
Yeah, she did really good too. Yeah.
I think a lot of the acting in this movie is very solid. I love Fazio. As ridiculous as he is, I think Fazio did great.
Yeah, he was kind of channeling. I felt like they wanted Jeffrey Combs and they couldn't get him, and so they got a Jeffrey Combs type.
Oh yeah, he's a Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Campbell love baby to me.
Yeah.
And I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah, very over the top.
Yeah.
Like.
Because I love it because it's like when he goes and steals from Scott and he gets the coin and he's like rummaging through Scott's things, he also like goes ahead and steals this like fabulous silk shirt.
Yeah.
He just like while I'm at it. Like,
yeah. While I'm here.
I'll take this cute top too.
Yeah.
And then this dramatic smoke bomb. I mean, come on, Fazio's great. He's
so
great.
dramatic. So
He's
dramatic.
Great. So then we find Fazio, and Fazio goes down and he's got this coin, and him and Loretta are trying to get it to work, and they just can't figure it out. Like they just can't work out how to fix this. Like, but I think it's because they're doing it together. Like they're both sitting there trying to make these wishes.
No, it's because they weren't wishing.
Oh, they were just like
she was just like, see, look, I'm going to put it on top, and it's going to pick the right thing, and it doesn't do anything. So then Fazio's like, okay, you're crazy. Like, we're going to sell this thing, or blah, blah, blah. Mitch comes over, grabs it, and like they start talking about, somehow Tammy comes up. And
Mitch is perving.
Yeah, perving on her, and Loretta says something like, "Oh, you want to be with Tammy," and he says something like, "I wish," and then that's immediately Tammy turns into Marilyn Monroe.
Fully turns into Marilyn Monroe, like this mousy little like squinted little eyes coming to talk to Mitch, and is on him like nobody's business. And they go up to his room. We've got a full, like, strip moment, but I think she strips off, like, a blazer that she has on. Like, she's not stripping. And we have that full moment, and Tammy's like, Loretta.
Loretta.
I keep forgetting their names.
Yeah.
And Loretta rolls up, like, I'm just going to get that coin while he's distracted. And goes in and steals the coin while Tammy and him are, like, having this moment. And immediately, Tammy snaps out of it.
It's like, what'd you do to me? Why am I here?
Oh my God, what did you do? Yeah. She's mortified.
Loretta gets the coin back, and she leaves.
Lep
and
versus Mitch.
Lep versus Mitch. Okay. So I was thinking you were saying there's a fight. I was like, what? I don't remember a fight. Yeah. So then they all leave. Mitch is there. The Lep is still sniffing the coin out, but is like a step behind. So he's always the person that just had it. Like he's showing up just a second too late. And sneaks in there and then puts we get our boob moment, right? We have a naked lady, and Mitch is just like, oh, wow, oh, hey, this is a good movie. She's hot, blah, blah, blah. I think she starts like saying his name and stuff.
Yeah, like she starts talking directly to him.
But she comes out of the TV.
Ringside.
And again, to him, normal thing.
No questions.
Starts making out with this woman. She's climbing on top of him. They're getting hot and heavy. Then the leprechaun decides enough of that. And we see that she is not a woman at all. She is like a slutty Terminator.
Yeah, it's like a robot.
Like a robot,
very
like
weird.
Full metal, but then like these just fake boobs like hanging down.
Well, it's like, is this something that Mitch had in his home? Because Lep likes to do something like we had lawnmower moment, where he uses something real but just manipulates what you see. Is this something Mitch had, or like did Lep make this?
I think the TV turns into that. Like like the TV, like because I think when it like cuts to a certain angle, the TV is gone. I think so. It's like
kind of. Where did they get the fake boobs?
It's Vegas.
Probably not hard to find.
He probably had those in his room somewhere.
Okay, Mitch definitely, knowing Mitch.
They had a drag show there or something at some point. It was a souvenir.
Someone's chest plate was just lying around.
Yeah. So he gets electrocuted to death.
Love.
Then I think right after that, that's when the two like mobsters I don't know if we've talked about them yet.
No, we have one in a Hawaiian shirt, one in a suit, and they're sort of these guys like constantly shaking down Mitch for money.
He owes somebody a bunch of money. He has not paid up. They've said you've got until like tomorrow or something like that.
Because there's this moment that we love because while I think it cuts to it like in between the scene while Mitch and Tammy are kind of like upstairs getting hot and heavy.
Marilyn Monroe.
And Loretta's going up to steal stuff. It then cuts to the two of them because Mitch is late meeting them to give them the money. And they're just sitting there talking about socks and underwear.
Yeah, talking about
underwear they like to wear.
One's like I'm wearing briefs, the other's like I'm wearing boxers, and they're like, oh, I enjoy the support, and yeah, but briefs make me feel like a sissy. Yeah. And then like socks, and he's like, oh, my socks keep rolling down to my thing. That's annoying me.
It's so weird.
Like what's weird about it is it's a good scene because they have like good chemistry and stuff like that, and they're funny and they deliver everything well. But it's like in just a weird spot of the movie or something. Yeah. I guess like
it kind of takes you out of the moment.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just that you can see that they're waiting for Mitch, but we sit there. I feel like for a couple minutes of them just talking, and it's adorable. I love the two of them, and I mean, I don't want to be there, but like I ship them. I would love for Hawaiian
I can see that. I can see that.
They were cute, but it's a weird conversation just like splice in.
Yeah, because they say stuff like when he threatens Mitch, like one of them is like the enforcer, right?
Oh
like
yeah, bad cop, good cop.
And Mitch says something like, "Oh, you aren't bad. I could, kick your butt," or something like that.
Very menacing.
And then he walks off, and one of them looks to the enforcer and was like, "He couldn't do that." And he's like, "Oh, thanks," something like that. So it's like there is cute. Like some like care there. So I think you're right. Maybe there's a little, I don't know, sexual tension going on.
I think so. I think there's something going on between the two of them. So yeah, they rush in because they're over it. They're like, "Where the hell is Mitch?" So they just go and find him, and Lep is in there with Lep's body.
Yeah, with Mitch's body. You said the Lep's in there with Lep's body.
He is in there with his own body,
is.
But he's also in there with Mitch's body.
So then there's a kerfuffle between them, and we get our eye gouge scene of the movie.
Classic, as per movie, we need at least one. Takes
his cane, pokes an eye out, and then he has to have a one-liner in there somewhere. There's no way he doesn't.
There's something. Then he think it beats the crap out of the other one with the cane.
Yeah, I think he just beats the crap out of him, and then I think takes off.
Yeah, then he moves on. He can smell that Loretta has the coin now.
He's got his eye. He's happy. Now he moves on. And now Loretta has it. And
my favorite death wish scene, everything.
So of course, she's been, people have been on to her about her weight and her age and all that. So she just wants to be pretty. Mm-hmm. And so that's
understandable.
I think she wishes to be the hottest woman there or something like that.
Yeah, she wishes to be attractive.
And she is.
Oh yeah, she gets this pixie cut. Like a left boob lift. It's all thing. It's this hot little outfit on. She's feeling it.
Yeah, and she's an attractive woman, so it works.
Because she's never been fat or ugly.
Yeah.
These people in this video have just been bullying her.
Yeah.
They've been gaslighting us and believing that Loretta's ugly.
Yeah. So I think she immediately goes to Fazio to brag, right? Yeah, and he's like, "What in the what's going on?" And she starts talking about the coin, and she's, as one would, is throwing it up and down.
Yep.
He snatches it. They kind of fight a little bit. He runs out. She's like, "Well, there's a mirror here. I might as well enjoy it." So she's staring at herself, and then
In comes Lep.
In comes Lep.
And we get, and I think we talked about in the last episode that just like Mitch's, all these wishes start out great, and then once they've been stolen, I like to hope that if Loretta had kept the coin, she could have just been fierce and hot forever.
Yeah.
And like, I hate Fazio for that. Like, I wish she could have just kept that coin and lived her fierce model life. But alas, she cannot. And so Lep decides that, I think, because this is one of my quotes that I love, he calls her a delightful little slut.
Yes.
But what about your butt?
Yes.
I love it. I mean, he doesn't say it like that at all, but I love it. And so then he does his little Lep magic, and her boobs and butt and everything starts to expand.
Lips.
Her lips get like larger, and to the point where she just explodes.
Yeah, she goes to run out of the room and gets stuck in the doorway.
She's just
huge. And then
boom, pop. Just full pop. It's like I don't know why I love that scene, but I love that scene.
Yeah. It's cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I like it way more than Robot Slut.
Yeah, that one was...
It's just not as fun.
That felt very... I guess the way that one looked, it kind of reminded me of Nightmare... Is it 4?
Yeah.
Or 5, like with the motorcycle and...
Very...
Yeah.
It's very that.
Is it 5? It doesn't matter, but...
I think that's 5.
Yeah. Or is that... Freddy's dead? Dang it.
That's another episode.
Yeah. Either way.
Regardless.
Yeah.
And so then I don't think Fazio makes his wish till a little bit later. Or does he make his wish at this point already?
She dies.
Because Scott, at this point, I believe, is already going through it.
Yeah, so, to go back to that, what happened was he gets bit, and in the process of, like, throwing the leprechaun out the window, he stabs him in the eye with, in the head, like, straight in the forehead, and blood drips on to the open bite. And he starts turning into a leprechaun.
Yeah, so we now have Scott in his room. The bite's looking disgusting at this point. I mean,
like
it's
green,
gross. It's
like
oozing. It's disgusting. And he's starting to rhyme. Like, he's got this sort of cadence about him that's very, very leprechaun-y. I think he's getting a bit of an Irish accent. He's not looking too much different at this point, but he is definitely... We're starting to see the change.
Yeah, he's looking a little sick, kind of. Yeah.
So while these fools are making wishes, Scott's in there going through it, rolling around the floor.
I think by the time, like, we get to what we were just talking about, Tammy has taken Scott to the hospital.
Did they go to the pawn place first, or did they go to the doctor? Because I think she finds him in the room, and he's like, all of this started at that pawn shop.
Yeah. And
so I think they go there first.
And then what?
Because they get on the computer and are looking up all this stuff about leprechaun facts.
That's right.
So they're figuring out the lore, and I believe that's where Tammy finds the medallion.
That's right.
And takes it.
Yeah, they get the medallion, and I think they're leaving, and like he like collapses in the parking lot. Yeah. I think.
So she takes Scott to the doctor.
To the hospital. Tammy. And yeah, at the hospital, they're running all kinds of tests because now he's actually kind of like looking a little bit like a leopard. He's got like eyebrows and like.
He's got like the discoloration all over his face, like the shadows and makeup. He's really starting to look leprechaun-y.
Yeah, and he's like so they take him in, they put him on a gurney. Doctors are looking at him. They're like taking his shirt off. He's got like this like disgusting looking like stomach or like.
Yeah, it's like discolored. It's gross.
They don't know what's going on. The tests, which amazing. They run like an EKG. They pull it up, and the EKG is just 4-leaf clovers like that spell "fuck you" on it.
That's great.
And then they run. I can't remember what the other test was. They pull that one up, and it's just a bunch of dancing leprechauns on it, and like so, just amazing.
More like just brilliance of the Leprechaun movies, knowing what they are, leaning into the silliness. I love that part of this movie.
Yeah,
it's like one of my favorite touches.
Yeah,
is including that. So then Scott's in there stuck, and Leprechaun rolls up in full doctor garb. including the like hairnet situation. It's not a hairnet like a luxury you would wear, but sort of a
it's
hair
like
cover.
the surgical cap or something.
Yes, that he's got over his hat.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
that's right. Yeah,
right over his typical leprechaun hat.
So he's there looking for Scott, and then Scott is what does he do? He ends up I think the doctors are like, okay, they find all his money, and they're like, oh, we're going to keep him here for a couple of days. He can afford, we'll run this test. We'll just start running all these tests, and we'll just make some money. Scott wakes up, knocks everybody out. I think
he's becoming, the sort of left side starts coming out.
So he escapes from the doctors. And I think at the same time, this is when the leprechaun like gets on the intercom and is like, Tammy, please, meet Scott in the morgue, something like that. And so, of course she's like, oh my God, he's dead, blah, 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 which why they would send her down to the morgue seems odd, but
seriously, Tammy, get a grip, girl.
And the leprechaun at this point, I believe, has captured Scott because he's like tied down to the gurney. I can't remember how he did that, but the leprechaun was, and she rolls up. Scott gets out, and they kind of have like their first like little like battle between the two leprechauns.
The two leps.
Like
face to face.
Yeah, the leprechaun's like, oh my gosh, like you're becoming a, whatever, a me.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
I think he does call him brother. Yeah.
I think so. I think that's what he says.
Yeah.
It sounds like something my brother or dad would say. Hey, brother.
So they have like a fight, and then Leprechaun. Oh, Tammy busts out the medallion. The medallion. Lep
hey,
doesn't
girl.
like that. He's on a gurney. Uses his leprechaun magic to roll away on the gurney and gives a good boink, little middle finger on the way out.
Just listen to the bird on his way. He's over it.
Which was amazing.
He's like, fine, okay, I'll go find that shilling, I guess. Because he's just trying to figure out where it is.
Just wants his money.
Yeah, and we get to Fazio making his wish.
That's right.
Which is to be the best magician in the world. Or something along those lines.
Yeah, and he even does like goes to wish and goes, oh no. Makes it disappear and goes, I want to be the best magician in the world.
Oh God, yeah he does. Cheese fest, love it. And so yes, he's doing this. He's doing a fabulous job doing all this stuff. And Leprechaun turns into his assistant. He rolls up, and Fazio, ever the a thespian, the theatrical man, goes along with it.
The consummate professional.
He is not going to let this ruin the show, so he's just vibing with it. And Leprechaun is like, you're gonna get on this table, and I'm gonna saw this man in half. And he does. And Fazio gets this table fully ready. He's spooked, but, Lep's going for it. And this audience just sits there as he full on saws this man in half, like blood spewing everywhere.
And what's amazing is he's in the table. Leprechaun pulls out the chainsaw to do it.
Chainsaw.
And Fazio's response is, "Ma." Like just, "Ma."
That's
like
it.
that,
like
that's
he
it.
Goes to, how many takes did they give him? Like, okay, you're about to get chainsawed in half, by the way, and we need to know what you would do in that situation. Ma. like he's just kind of like, ugh, like what's
No
that?
one thought, we need something different.
Maybe it's a little more, Foz.
Yeah.
Like, just a little bit.
But he keeps saying, he's like, oh, you're bluffing. You're not gonna. This is a room full of people. You're not gonna do it.
Lep.
But he does saw him, in fact, in half.
Lep is ballsy. He's not. You do not call Lep on a bluff.
No. And then I don't know if. Yes. Okay. So then Tammy and Scott run in, and Scott's like, everybody's gonna leave. He's a madman. I don't know if he calls him a leprechaun or not.
Get out, girl.
So everybody starts running, and then the leprechaun just starts like doing this and like chunking people across the room, making them fly, and
he's having a
all
moment.
that. Just ping ponging people around.
Because we found out, which this was another sort of new rule in this movie that they introduced, that if you destroy the leprechaun's gold, it will destroy the leprechaun himself, which never comes back up.
Nope.
This is the only film that is ever a possible. situation.
And I don't even think we know that until the very, very end, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tammy just kind of throws it out, I think, doesn't she?
Yeah, I can't remember if like they found that out when they were in the pawn shop, or if that's just a conclusion that she comes to.
I think because he says something like he's trying to convince her. He's got because Fazio had a flamethrower that was going to be part of his act.
Obviously.
So he has a flamethrower on the Leprechaun, and the Leprechaun's like, "You don't have to do that. I'll share my gold with you. Like, this is power. This is where I like." He somehow says something that connects the gold to his power. And then Scott's like, I guess, fighting the Leprechaun in him at that point. And Tammy, I think, says something like, "The gold, it's his power."
Yep.
And then,
gold.
and then he turns the flamethrower on the gold, and the gold disappears, and the Leprechaun goes up in flames.
Like shoots up into the air. I feel like he went.
Yeah,
flying.
he's like flying up and down in the air.
On fire. One of the most dramatic Leprechaun deaths. It's no explosion, obviously, but he's up, like flying through the air.
And it looks like they actually do have a stunt actor on fire, like pulling him up and down, which was like I was like, wow, okay, yeah. It's like, geez, that doesn't seem very safe, but
God bless the stunt
yeah,
man, but someone was on fire in the making of this movie.
So then he falls down, charred to a crisp.
Gone.
Leprechaun's gone.
Fried as hell.
You've had our boss battle.
Yeah, our big boss battle.
And in classic style, I think within a minute the movie's over.
Within a minute, we have an abrupt ending of Tammy and Scott walking out, chunking that last shilling, just like in 2.
Because he says something like, "Well, what do you want to do with the shilling? Do we want to sell it? Do you want to keep it?" And she just looks at us. I think I have everything I want or need, or want very badly.
She literally, that is a line that someone wrote. I think I have everything I need or want very badly. Oh, you mean the same damn thing, girl? There are no two. Or what?
Yeah, I'm sorry, huh?
You just said the same thing twice.
So, yeah, then they say that and then kind of like do this awkward Christian side hug thing.
Yeah, it's this very bizarre, like, pat on the back, little...
And then they walk off together and scene.
Boom. Done.
But it makes you think that they're supposed to be riding off into the sunset together, like in love and stuff. But there was like no chemistry at all. No chemistry whatsoever.
Ever. There is more chemistry between Hawaiian shirt and suit guy.
Yep. In
their 5 minutes of screen time than there ever is between Scott and Tammy. God bless the two of them. There's just none. They're both fine actors. I know we've talked about it. Scott, I mean, especially once he becomes a leprechaun, is great.
He gets better when he becomes the leprechaun.
His accent, like, he really tunes into that, and he gets much better in the movie once he starts doing leprechaun scenes.
Yeah.
But they can't pretend to be in love for shit.
Nope.
I didn't believe it for a second.
Well, and it's probably a little bit of the writing too, because I don't think they really give them a lot of like time to show that or anything.
No, we
like,
don't
really. Other than the end where it seems kind of tacked on.
Like, I think he seemed into her at the beginning, but she didn't seem to be into him really much at all, and so we don't really see them connect romantically, I don't think, other than her trying. She looks out for him a lot.
Yeah.
But I thought it was more of like she's looking out for this idiot.
Yeah. That's what it seemed like.
Because the poor thing can't make it 5 minutes this casino without losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. She's like, girl, you gotta get out. Go to school. What are you doing here, kid? Like,
and being a 45-year-old man, you would think he would know.
You'd think you'd be embarrassed. You'd think you'd know better when you've got 3 kids.
Yeah.
But poor Scott just ain't got it in him.
Well, I like this movie. I don't think it's one of my top ones.
No.
But, and I think this is the first one that was direct to DVD. And I think it feels that way.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely
not
can tell.
overtly, but like you can tell. Like,
I wouldn't say that there's too much of a difference really at all between this one and Leprechaun 2. they feel fairly similar to me.
I think it's more like, I know we talked about the music a little bit on the last one too. Maybe that seems a little more generic.
Well, I think there's production value because I know like the Lucky Shamrock, this casino, like the sign for it, you can tell it's just like a paper banner.
Yeah.
Like taped to what I'm assuming is a normal like sign or store somewhere. Like so stuff like that definitely you can feel the lower budget maybe, a little bit less time taken to come up with this movie. Yeah. But it's still really good. Yeah. I don't think 2 or 3 are that high on my rankings of the Leprechaun franchise. I'd love to simply because of how ridiculous it is. Some parts of this movie are that way, but it just doesn't hold up.
Yeah, it's not as... Yeah.
Between when you have like heavy hitters like Lep in the Hood, Leprechaun in Space, that even if they're not great, they're so memorable, like that they just stick with you. It's not that it's a bad movie. I think that if you put this up against any other sort of older campy horror movie, but I think that's the thing about these movies because this came out in 1995. Yeah. And it feels like it's right there with these 83 movies.
Yeah. It's in the same vein.
Like I do not feel like it came out in the 90s. It fully feels like... Because I guess Final Destination was early 2000s.
I believe so. It might have been late 90s.
Because I know we've talked about some of the vibes to 90s movies, and it does not feel that way to me. Yeah. This feels full on like this was made.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. And maybe it's because it was... I think this is pre-Scream. And I think Scream really...
did really change the vibe in horror movies, especially in the 90s.
So I think that's probably maybe before that happened.
I mean, still love it. Super fun movie. I mean, Loretta's giant injection death is great to me. Yeah. And I think that they still do a great job acting wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in it that's like you just go, oh geez.
Justice for Hawaiian shirt and suit guy though. Yeah. Justice for them. I'd like them to be in love.
Yeah. They were holding it down.
Period.
Well, I think that's all we have today. So thanks everybody for watching. Our next episode is going to be on Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space.
We hope to see you there.